Greetings from the facility. It's a bit of a brothel at the moment, but we mean well as always. A bit of Chardonnay in the background there. Just kicking the morning off with some coffee. And from another angle, we introduce our would-be sponsor, JB Hi-Fi. And my thinking there was to feature various things like the Philips Hue lighting flashing in the background. If I feature a product on this show, then I'll do a review on the product. In fact, I won't include any products that is shit, although I will. This fucking tripod and I are going to come to blows. But that's after me coffee. So the idea would be that I buy the product, I use the product in order to review it, and then if I approach JB Hi-Fi's and say, look, I've got this video, it's getting this many clicks, or here's my stats, can I get a discount code for that product at your shop or something? So that's one way of funding this rather elaborate hobby. I should introduce at this point that, you know, it's been a difficult little spell for the professor. It really has. And I think more recently there have been some changes in my demeanour to the upside that are almost euphoric by contrast to the how would you succinctly put it, the sheer hell that is parental child separation anxiety, or something of that ilk, if not itself a defined condition. I've got COVID-itis. My scenario could be summarised, and I'm sure if anyone were interested in that particular, knowing more about that, like family judges, I think would benefit. Deutsche, yeah, talking to you, Judge Cobain, or whatever your fucking name is. Anyway, so in order to adequately cope with what is a grief beyond compare, the mind plays tricks on itself. So here is a veritable laboratory. It's not in reality, it is in my mind, in order to preoccupy my mind so as not to lose the mind to the effects of boredom and isolation. So this didn't occur overnight. The development, and it would be interesting to see, given my daily logs, which are a Prince 2 artefact, as it is. So I'm a Prince 2 practitioner, and I at times rather unnecessarily apply the Prince 2 methodology to making a cup of coffee, or parts thereof, just to keep my skills sharp, such that when the COVID buggers off and the economy, people begin employing again, then there'll be a fucking job to fund the $2,000 a year flight that should be, or is it included in the alimony payment that I'm required to pay. So I'll be the custodian of that particular segment of the alimony that is the cost of the airfare if you do not mind. Right, so I'll hang on to that. There is an amount that needs to be paid, but deducted from the amount that needs to be paid under law, right? And there are two different versions of that. So prior to going and stealing the funding for the child's laptop, right, you kept that money, you kept it, right? he didn't want the laptop, changed his mind, wanted to build his own machine. What a great idea. So I funded that as well, expecting, in all reasonability, that the original laptop, which was no longer required, for which I had already sent the money for that, some 2,000-ish Australian dollars, then that didn't come back to Muggins here, right? It did not come back. And then this audacious claim that, the audacious claim that somehow you've a right to take that from the child, right, that funding, you've somehow got a right to retain those funds. And I think that's actually a crime. I'm fucking sure it is a crime to have done that. And if you don't return the funds, then I'll have no other option but to go to the fucking law. That's the police and say, this has happened, how dare she? Or does this constitute coercive control under the definition of domestic violence, Your Honour? And is it the case that it's only men who can be punished for this type of coercive control? Or is that, plucking at the heartstrings a little pling, one of them's going to break? You've got control of the child. 2 occasions when you were invited to attend mediation so that visitation, custody, it's all there in the standard agenda that I sent, the parental agreement that you didn't sign and return as promised. Multitude of times you've reneged on that and said, oh no, it went missing in the post. I still don't have a copy of it, and that was the fundamental condition of the property settlement, by the fucking way. So I know there's some statute of limitations on it, and frankly I don't want to put the child through the pain and angst of a custody dispute right in the middle of puberty. Not good timing, not that it ever is a pleasant experience. I'd rather call it fucking quits on using the child as a fucking pawn, as you have done, right, by stealing his money for his birthday present and pocketing it your fucking self. I'm not currently working at the moment, and consequently alimony payments scale with income. These matters and others would have been addressed had you attended, had you accepted one of the 2 invitations for which I have 2 court certificates to say that I've attempted to fucking resolve things peacefully with you. Yep. And so how am I getting on? Famously well. How would anyone get on with, repeated requests being denied for a weekly fucking phone call? Oh no, he's busy, he's got soccer, he's got swimming, he's got all the fucking excuses in the world from you, and now, right, he's passing them on to me himself. Right? He's not attending his 12 o'clock regular fucking scheduled Skype chat or WhatsApp chat. He's not complying with requests, okay? And I can't get over there just yet. I don't know if in fact that's advisable. In fact, I'm fucking very short on quality advice, right? Last time it was $20,000 retainer. Up front, we need to get a barrister from fucking Melbourne, So, good luck. Fuck off. Make sure the door doesn't hit you in the arse on your way out. Thank you very much, legal fucking profession, Thank you very fucking much. Grrr. So what do you do with all that anger, pal? You're gonna have to get a marsupial to beat to death. No, I think when there's absolutely zero that can be done about it, there's a certain detachment that occurred, or is occurring, it's a very scary fucking place at the moment in my mind. Very scary place indeed. Scary how? Well, how is your fucking mind a scary place? Well, it's unsettled, to say the least. It's ferociously fucking looking for, trying to find a solution to this multi-dimensional equation, which really comes down to this solution. I need to derive an income remotely from anywhere in the world with just I need to have a portable place of income earning activity. My office needs to be mobile. I need to find a way to generate an income, okay, that is going to cover the alimony payments, that will cover the rent, will cover the cost of the airfares, and all other associated costing that is required in order for me to have meaningful contact with my son. Rightio. Well, how much does that equate to? Funnily enough, I am quantifying that very metric as we speak, yes. This video, I don't think is a saleable product per se, but the design of this flat. So what I aim to do here is using this flat as a model for the minimum, a minimum amount of space, right? So this is a three-dimensional image, or shall soon be, right? And that is the dimensions of the flat, right? And if you see this here, you will have an understanding now of this picture here, okay? Or sort of. Right, so that's the basic dimensions there, roughly. Not that accurate because it's not required at this stage. So what we have, if I may find it, is another product placement idea from, you know, our would-be sponsors, Bosch, who have absolutely revolutionised my world in the most important way in being, and that being the capacity now to produce something fucking tangible from all of this thinking finally. Even that, this little artifact here, revolutionary, right? Absolutely revolutionary. And why so? Because it came about in minutes, probably 5 minutes, as I applied this tool here, which is your Bosch, got it from Bunnings, XYZ model, check the link below, and I like it. I fucking love it actually. What it does is it puts, you butt it up against your wall, and it, right, you hit the red button, there's only one, so you can't really fuck that up. And you press the button once, point it at the spot. Can you see that spot there? Right, and press it again when it's lined up, and there you go, 4.166 metres. And you go, oh gee, that's not quite right, because this was 5.2, and that's right, because we're a few metres off the wall. So, and then some. We're quite well and truly off the wall here. Right, so what that meant was that this, now I know the dimensions of this space. I can set about putting those measurements into SketchUp, which will be the next little adventure. So SketchUp is great. I don't know if it's the best, but it's a start. And so in terms of, in parallel, the benefits going on here are that not only it's wonderful to think, but I'm preoccupied with thought, and I would like to see something tangible, materialise as the expression of that thought. So it's an expression, it's a form of expression. See, thoughts need to be expressed, and if your only form of expression is your fucking gob, well, you're going to run out of mates pretty quick, because people get sick of hearing this shit. So where's it all going? Well, look, we hope to produce, some sort of artefacts like this here, documentation like this here, plan, but right, what I'm trying to do here, as I meander somewhat, is produce a replica of this space that I'm in, okay? And if we just do a tour of the Cornice, right? So we just do I don't know if that's going to work, is it? No. Just take you on a Cornice tour, starting there, right, where that power box is, and just follow the Cornice all the way along. Right, if you replace that Cornice with some sort of structural steel, I'm thinking galvanised angle, 100mm galvanised angle or something, right? Or even a fence post or scaffold or whatever the hell, right? Structural. You made this this skeleton that's not welded, but it's precision engineered. This thing, probably not, but what do you do with this frame that you've got, right? And you'd have one beam going along that, where that parallel, where that top shelf is, as well. So that's your main. You'd have one at that end, one at that end behind me, one behind the camera where the camera is, and they're basically roof trusses that have to cover, draw the power box and the air conditioner, a bit of ducting there. They have to come off the wall 150mm, probably 200mm, and then it just goes up. So there'll be a bit of space lost there, maybe. I don't fucking know how you're gonna. Maybe those air conditioners, maybe that shit comes off the wall. Maybe get a smart meter and replace that meter there at the moment. Maybe you just take the fucker out and go off the grid, put solar panels on the roof. I don't fucking know. But basically, what you'll end up with, if I achieve that, this frame, and ignore the posts. It can be standing on posts or whatever, but the point is, it's demountable, like scaffold, folds up like fucking Meccano, right? And they're posts, scaffolding posts. They're structural, and they've got the joins are all. That's the bit that needs to be designed, and the connectors, and then it needs to be assessed structurally to find out what its load capacity is. And then what we can do with it is, well, anything really. I want to put that in the garage eventually, right? So I'm going to build this thing here with a view of putting it, erecting it in the garage, right? Freestanding inside the gable garage out the back. Brilliant. So then what? That means then I've fucking doubled my space, haven't I? Because if this fits in the garage, which probably will, maybe not height-wise, that's fine. Then if I grow out of the garage, right, and I will, because I'll then, if I'm living in the garage, if I can sleep nights in the garage, that means, and work there, it means that if I get a booking here for a holiday let or something like that, rent this place out as office space or holiday rental or whatever, and it can become an office or an media room, and be rented out at a premium rent, at a premium rental. And other services like my concierge service can be added. So I can pick you up at the airport if you're from Melbourne, you're a big shot lawyer or something, and you need a fucking, home office, a Soho, a small office, home office. Hey, come and see us. We got on-site security, pick you up from the airport, as I said, bring you here, you do, right? You might be a gun barrister on a top criminal law case for someone here and need, chambers. So maybe we provide that, secure meeting environment to prepare your case. We cook here, or I do. We get Ubereats here as well. So there's a range of add-on services. I can procure whatever you want through La Concierge and just call. Right, happy days. So now I'm in the fucking shed, am I? Yeah, and I'm renting this place out, for a premium. How much? Would you believe? Fucking 600 a day. What? Yeah, and you might have, for that you'd include standby staff that they're on call. You pay for that retainer. Then if you use them as an additional hourly, depending on what they do for you. But yeah, so move this into the garage, and then comes the idea of the concept of the cable car thing, and getting everything in and out of this place as though it were a theatre, right? So I set up a theatre here, right, with all the screens and curtains and stuff, but all on a pulley system, and they go out of the building and get stored in the garage, right? Where they're used in the garage, right, for rehearsal, or they're stored. And then when we have a performance, we just, the curtains all come up and go all the way around the room. The seating, the stackable seating, or whatever we need is stored in the garage, comes in here. Bang, have the performance, happy days. Now we can do a risk assessment for this performance. We can do it all by the book, and that will be the exercise in compliance that we do. So we're developing an admin and control team, and that team do things like applications for government grants, look at how do you source social media funding, crowdsourcing I think it's called, or whatever. So yeah, it's interesting how to raise capital for some of these projects. And the projects stand a good chance, or a better chance I should say, of attracting capital investment if they are compliant with a Prince 2 methodology or some other formal methodology that's recognised by business and industry, government alike, actually developed by the Office of Government and Commerce in the UK. Prince, Projects in Controlled Environments. So we tend to use a bit of that, which is, I know, overkill, given what it allows us to do is reuse parts of the project. And in every project, part of the project, right, is the training on or growing or development of our team's project capability. It's not the CMMI, it's not the full-blown IBM. I'm not real keen on that method. But, whatever flavour floats your boat. If there's a government department that require a particular document or methodology to be used, happy days. We can do it. We can apply for funding. And we haven't done it yet in Anga, but I think we're about to. I'd like to. All right. So, who's going to design all this stuff? Like, how's it all? Because I'm not a computer-aided design boffin. I've never used it before. In Anga, really. Geez, the girls from the makeup could have fucking touched me. They'll never know. So what's going to happen there with that? Well, what if we were to spark someone's interest and train them, and say, here you go, mate, punch these numbers into the computer, go online to Bunnings, right, and get me 3 quotes for the material, find out where I can get all of this stuff done, and there'll be conversations around, because it's easy to draw lines on the plan. That's good, tells me surface areas and square meterages and cost of paint if I needed to, whatever. But what's really, that will then spark a design meeting about, well, what about these joins? What do we do about the connectors? Where do, have they got to be bespoke, or do we make those ourselves? So that process will be part of the team building or designing a team. So I've got a colleague in mind who has some mobility issues, and so I thought I would like to approach and apply for a grant on his behalf, because I would like to set him up in this office as a person that has a job, whereas because of his mobility issue, he's not able to use public transport that well. The bus driver was very rude, and picked up on by the other passenger in the bus. So to find, before I haven't said anything to him yet, but I thought, well, what if, I had thought about doing this for another person or other persons. What if I convert this place here, but what if this place here becomes, during the day, an office that has been modified to, it's an office that's been modified to, it's an office that's been modified to accommodate those with mobility issues. Okay, so all right, and then in time, in fact, fucking today, in fact, because it was this guy's suggestion that I get this fucking tape measure, right? And because of his speech impediment, right, I thought, oh, fuck off, you dickhead. Don't you think? I'll do all the thinking. But I followed his advice and bought the fucking thing, and as a result, I'm now ready to take that great leap forward from design to implementation. And it's fast, like it's going to be fucking sudden. And I had been thinking about all of this stuff for fucking 2 years or longer. And I put hey, I'm acting out of my own selfish interest here, right? I am acting out of my own self-interest, and that self-interest has got a rather nice byproduct, because if successful, right, the person who's got the mobility issue and the speech impairment, right, does not have access to, has difficulty on the bus. How's this person going to get to a job interview? How's this person going to get to a career advisor and discover, oh, you know what, I really like fucking into designing, I think I could be an architect, or I could design things that mobility aids, right, and other things that assist people who share a common who share the same affliction or afflictions as I, right? And even not, it's not a prerequisite. However, this person, being mobility impaired, will have an intimate understanding of the problem, right? And hence, in designing the solution to that problem, there may be problems that have not been catered for, and I'm damn sure there would be, right? And right now, we're about to have the Paralympics are going to be on, and I'll be watching the bloody basketball, I'll be watching the rugby, the tennis, if that's included. I'll be getting into it, and I hadn't thought so much about it as recently. So, right, mobility, a grant for this person, so that person can gain access to the office, right? And I'm going to create a position for this person, and we will, on behalf of the person, it's a trainee volunteership, but he's got to get some government funding for it, okay? And I need dispensation on planning approval from the local council when I apply for planning approval to get the elevator put in, which is a crown. All I need really is a fairly good paved area out the back, and then I'll be able to get the shit in and out here on that forklift device. But it's got to be smooth. It's called a Crown Wave. $3.5 grand for that one. I'm like, okay, I know where it is, and the prices are only coming down, so time is on my side, right? I don't need to spend that money. I might apply for the grant and say, hey, Linda needs to get into this place upstairs because downstairs, you know, we want a fence and a dog. If you say no to the fence, she's going upstairs, and she'll be here and I'll be gone, right? And she'll be up and down there later. This will be like, so how will that work with what else? You know, was Linda going to live here while they're, no, there'll be an office here, and then office hours end at 6 p.m, or 5, or 4, or 3, whenever, and off everyone go, probably 3, gone. And then the place reconfigures it, cleans itself after everyone goes, cleans itself, fucking sanitises itself using the robots that I'm designing as we speak. But that's just a hobby. How does that address, you know, it's great to have a distraction, but it's not so good to just, you know, live in denial and not deal with the priorities. At the moment, so how does this get me closer to my son is all I'm fucking worried about, you know. And if I've got, you know, something set up and operating here that I don't have to touch, you know, or if I do, I can administer it remotely because it's just it's running itself, you know. People are here, they're doing sort of work for me, trying to get grants for others, and building a team, building a little community of designers who, well, just one, you know, it's open to the fucking public. If you're interested and you don't want to spend all that money on the virtual reality headset and stuff, well, you know, get in touch with us because we want to apply to a sponsor to go here. You know, great, you got the laser measure, but did you know that you can get your finger and just go follow those lines, and the whole thing will automatically go in, or spin a laser thing, and as it spins around, and every time it touches something, it creates a 3D model of all of this stuff. Pretty handy. Okay, so, you know, that's good. It's probably, I don't know if SketchUp, you know, is actually the thing to use, but we'll see. Now today, we've got, there's a few projects going, and I think the reason things are so bloody slow is because in order to, I mean, new ideas for projects come in all the time, sure, and that brings with it its own problem in terms of prioritisation, and, you know, rules around prioritisation for me are, you know, is it gonna bring me closer to my son? How's this related? How's what I'm doing right now related to that? And it's an indirect relationship, but nonetheless. So, how much money do I need? Well, if I'm successful here, building this little structure, and it's cheap, then I can do that in any country anywhere in the world, can I not? I could go to Germany, I could get a block of land in Portugal, I could build my little dwelling or my little shed, and then just pull it apart, put it in a container, and ship the parts back to Australia, and you know, it'll be there waiting for me when I arrive, and I'll put the thing back up on my block of dirt in Australia. Really? Probably not, but you know, if I wanted to, you know, I could reuse some of the bits. All right, so that's the picture of the garage. That's a photo, right? And rather cunningly, what I've done, if I don't say so myself, let me just get the angle on it, the right perspective. Yeah, that's about it there. Alright, so that's the garage picture there. Would have taken me hours to draw that up. I ran off to the races yesterday with me, and I thought, oh, hang on a minute, what am I actually going to be measuring? You know, so this diagram really helps helps in that regard. So I can draw on the diagram where I take the measurements. I can just draw on the picture what those measurements are, and that should really help. And then I can take this, then becomes the input file into the SketchUp doohickey, you know. Only I don't know whether